Hi guys, so for today's Busted Out, I had mentioned I want to do like a deconstructed card kit. And all that means is that we're going to pop things into like a binder, album, folio kind of thing that later if you want, to give as a gift or just pull them out for yourself and you can just put a card together that you don't have to think about it because it's already been thought about and you already have everything together. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm just going to call it like a deconstructed card kit. It's like when you go to a fancy restaurant, they have a deconstructed meal or something. But anyway, and the reason this is busted out is because I'm going to, actually I'll grab it right now. As I'm getting that, if I do have links for any of the other items I'll be using, those will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. I have this thing sitting behind me. Okay, you know how we all have these kind of like dividers and it's holding a bunch of stuff, and I told you guys I was going to switch out to some pretty pink ones I just got. Well, I didn't. I kept the clear ones here. Look at this, is broken. So actually I'm going to switch this one out for the clear ones that I pulled out of a different area, and I put the pink ones there. But behind me, I'm still keeping them clear for whatever reason I had to look into. Oh, you know why is? The pink ones that I got these cases at Michael's are a little shorter. So these are Iris brand, and these are the ones that come with the case, when you buy a big case. Well, it depends, I guess, if you buy it the Iris brand. And the pink ones I got recently are a little like this much shorter, right? Not as tall. So I'm like, I didn't like that. So I kept these here. But again, I'm going to switch this one out for one of the plastic ones that I got from the other bin. It doesn't matter. I just saw this sitting here and I was like, you know what? I wanted to make my deconstructed card kit. Hopefully that makes sense. Talked about it in a recent video. And look at all these papers. I've never even, I have no idea when the last time is that I even opened this to add papers or to take them out and use them. But what is this? Forever Young. Don't want to do that. But these have very cute little papers. Look at, oh my goodness, you guys. Look at all these 6x6s. Shine On. I think I used this one because I do remember this one. Not what I'm looking for either. Well, it depends, what are you trying to do, right? This is London Airy? London Airy? I don't know. This is pretty. So, like, let's say I wanted masculine cards or something, so I'm going to make my little box look at this. Oh my gosh, this is the cutest. This is very thin paper. I'm going to, we're going to make like a folio, like I said. In this video, it's probably going to take me a couple videos, so I'll probably do it today, and I'll probably finish it Friday for Freeform Friday. I think that'll be fun. But today we're going to make the actual base of the folio. And I really do think it's going to be a really sweet gift idea if you want to put something together like this for anybody. Look at this Prima Marketing. Never opened. Journaling note cards. What is this? I'm looking at this one. This one, of course, caught my eye. Oh, it's double-sided even. Oh. This might be something I'm interested in. I don't know about the burgundies that are in this. So, what is this? Little piece of trash. We have some Santa paper, which we don't want. Oh, this is Happy Holidays. Another pack of Shine On. That's what I'm saying. I knew I like Shine On. This is actually really cute. I have a whole other case of just 6x6s, some in a different spot. This is also Christmas paper. Look how cute these are, you guys. Home for the holidays. Apparently, I tried to arrange this at some point, right? As you can see. There's a little something in there that makes me think like that was Santa paper. I wasn't going for this color, and I kind of don't want to use it because it is double-sided. I'm going to cover a side for sure. This is pretty, though. That's a contender. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, make the folio, and then we're going to add card bases, just, card bases so you're ready to go. Today's project, the one I'll be working on today, is going to be for A2 size cards, but of course you can do this for any size, and I'll probably follow up with different sizes. I think that'll be a fun kind of series to do, and not really into the paisley on this one. This is like a little kid one. Okay, well anyway, so, I'm just wanting to pull out old paper pads. Look at this, mix and match. I don't know what this is. $5 this cost me for 3 that I never even opened it. That is very pretty though. Look at the yellows and the blues. Ugh. I think I'm gonna go with that burgundy one even though I wasn't feeling it, but we'll start with that. Look at this. I mean, this is a card kit, and so it has card bases and a little bit, that's it, card bases. It was what it looks like. 12 blank cards with envelopes. How cute. Well, anyway, I'm not gonna do that. It's basic gray. Okay, I'll use this. What I'm gonna do is find some what's it called? Sorry guys, I'm just putting that back away behind me here. Some basic cardstock, and I'll probably go with like a cream color. So I'm going to go grab some heavyweight cream color cardstock, and this is what I'm going to be using. What's cute is that this is a 6x6 paper pad. Of course, if we're going to use, A2 size if we're making this for A2 size items, the 6x6 is tall enough to make that folio for us, right? So that's gonna be really good. So let me grab some cardstock. I do have some notes here I showed you guys yesterday when I was kind of bouncing this around in my head, because I know when it's something like this, I do need to know some sizing. I don't have all the sizing written down, but did I say written down? I don't know what I said. Written down. I have some, okay? So I kind of gave an idea in my head of what I want to do with the outer folder, and then we'll see about the inserts that are going to hold ephemera and card fronts and things like that. So let me grab the paper that I need for all this, and we will get started. It's just 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper, sorry. Good heavyweight stuff. I think I might have got this at Hobby Lobby, I don't know. Probably 2 something GSM, because I don't think, maybe they do 300. They're 110 paper, right? 110 pound, I think is what you'll be looking for. So, a few things. There's tons of ways to construct something like this. I mean, this is just something that I kind of came up with. I'm going to do with an old school binding, meaning the kind of binding in the edge that I've done in the past, and I've shown you guys how to do, where you just kind of like score at 1/4 inch and then another 1/4 inch. I'm going to do 1/4 and 1/2 inches just so that it has a little more area to hold on to it. So it's going to be a 1/4 inch gap, 1/2 inch up, 1/2 inch down, 1/4 inch gap, you know what I'm saying, when I make the little spine. We'll talk about that in a minute. But for this very outer piece, I think this was my ideology. So if I have 1/4 inch gaps and I want to make pages that I'm going to have pockets, or however I want to put it, for card mats and die cut plates, so that's one page, right? On one side mats, the next side die cut pieces. Or like card fronts, and then flourishes and leaves and like die cuts. So flourishes and leaves, die cuts, that's 2 pages. And then sentiments and maybe embellishments or something that you might use like that. So that's another set of front and back. So that's 3 pages, right? Aside from the front and the back of the actual cover. It'll all make sense in a minute. So I need a 1/4 inch gap to begin with, you know, just to start, and then the page goes up and down. 1/4 inch gap, page goes up and down. So it's kind of what I did here. I just kind of did the math on that. I am going to have it 6 inches high because A2 size cards are 5.5 inches, and just to make it easy, I was like, oh, just pick 6 inches. If you want to do like 5 3/4, definitely you can do that. It'll still cover it up really well. Now, as far as the front and the back of the cover, how wide do you want to make them? We know our card bases are 4 1/4 inches wide, okay? So you can definitely just make it 4 1/4 and make it real tight. But I also wanted to put envelopes in the folio so that everything's there. So you have the card fronts, you have your envelopes, you have everything. Oh, look at that. It's barely gonna fit on this. Possibly. I didn't even think about this sizing. So I measured like this envelope. These are Spellbinders card blanks and envelopes. You can measure whatever you have. It might be a little bit different. So it's like 4... So this is 4 1/2. This is 4 3/8. It's a little bit smaller than 4 3/8. So for me, I'm going to do 4 3/8. The pocket that's going to hold this, and that's as wide as I want my pages also. So hopefully that makes sense. 4 3/8, 4 3/8, you're going to have like an inch gap in the center or something, right? Obviously this is smaller than this, but I'm still going to just use the same sizing because that way it'll just make it look nice. You don't want this page being small and the back cover sticking out, right? So I'm going with the 4 3/8. So did I make my measurements on that yet? Oh, how funny. I didn't add it up. I just said 4 3/8, 4 3/8. I didn't do my numbers here. So 6 inches tall. We need 1, 2, 3, 4. We need an inch gap. I hope that I did that right. 1/4 inch space. Okay, there's a page here. There's a space. Okay, so again, 1 inch like I pretty much always do, it seems like. And then these guys, so that's 8. I thought I wrote this down somewhere. Is this it? No. That's not the number for that. Let's see, so 8 6/8. So that's 8 3/4 plus another inch. So 9 3/4. So 9 3/4 this way. All right, so this first piece of paper I'm going to cut to 6 inches high and 9 3/4 inches wide, okay guys? So when I come back, this will be just cut down. Of course, I'm just taking it over to my guillotine. 6 inches high, 9 3/4 wide, and I'll be right back. So I'm just thinking what's the best way to explain this, and hopefully the images will let you know what we're doing. We do have these pieces that I just cut off, and you probably want to use them. You probably use them later in your project. You can even make pockets out of them, but the way I'm going to do my pockets is different, so they need to be taller than these little pieces. Okay, so this is the base of the thing, and then we're also going to go ahead, I think right now, and do the the spine. So I should have cut this down already, but I didn't. So we need a spine that is, it actually needs to be 4 by 6 inches, which is pretty big. But again, because you're doing all this up and down, it goes away. So 4 by the 6 inches, and you can make it a little bit shorter than 6 inches if you just want your paper to look a little. So I'm just going a little bit shorter than 6 inches, but you definitely need the 4 inches on the other side. So we're gonna do some scoring now, and this is again our front cover, and then this is gonna be our spine in the middle, and very easy. So again, I'll mention the numbers here. This is 6 inches tall by 9 3/4, and I'm just gonna score it at 4 3/8. So 4, and I do 4 is right here. And I do have 1/8 inches on this scoring thing. I always have it linked in the description box. But hopefully you have one that does 1/8 for you. So 4 3/8, which is right here. And if you want a corner round or all that stuff, you know, go for it. And then from there, I'm just going to do an inch, but I'm just going to turn it and go back to 4 3/8 again. And we have a 1-inch spine. And, you know, do you like to fold your paper inwards or outwards when you do your scoring? However it is. For right now, this isn't super important, but I'll go ahead and score it anyway. We are going to add in our spine, and then of course we're going to decorate the front and the back of the book and all that. So this is basically what's going to be holding our little card stuff, okay? Now, where is this guy? So what I'm doing with this guy, I'm going to make it so that the pieces that stick up in my binding are going to be 1/2 inches tall, just to give it a little extra instead of just being 1/4 inch. So I'm going to make my first score line at 1/4 inch. Okay, and then we're going to do 1/2 inch up and 1/2 inch down. So from the 1/4 inch, I'm going to score at 3/4, and then from 3/4, another 1/2 inch is, excuse me, I'm trying not to do a whole full inch. I'm like, what am I at? Here and here, yeah. So 1 1/4. So 1/4 inch, 3/4. 1 1/4 inches, and then 1 1/2 inches, because now I want another 1/4 inch gap. I hope this is not hurting people's brains, but basically we are going to have a 1/4 inch that's going to be touching the base of your spine. All right, so I'm going to fold this first part just to show you. Okay, that's going to be actually touching, glued down. This 1/2 inch space that went up 1/2 inch and then back down 1/2 inch is what's going to be holding my pages in my book. So this is touching your spine, this is sticking up, it's going to be glued together. Your pages are going to be attached to this. We need another 1/4 inch gap, and then after that 1/4 inch gap, we're going to do another 1/2 inch from there. So I shouldn't have messed with it. I just want to show you guys where we're going because I don't want to confuse anybody. So I'm trying to smash this back out just so I'm not touching the wrong spots here. Okay, so there we are. And then, so we're going to go to 2 inches. That makes it easier. Then 2 1/2, because we're doing 1/2 inch up and 1/2 inch back down. And then from here, we need another 1/4 inch. So just a 1/4 inch from there, which is 2 3/4, I suppose. And then another 1/2 inch, which is 3 1/4. And then a 1/2 inch from there would be 3 3/4, or just a 1/4 inch from the end, basically. Okay, so I'm just going to say that again. You're marking a 1/4 inch, then a 1/2 inch from there, 1/2 inch from there, a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and then that last 1/4 inch piece. So we are going to go ahead and score this up. I do this different ways, you know. I don't normally do a big 1/2 inch holder, but I really want this to hold on, and I think that'll just be the best way to do that. I am going to score those really well. This one too. Just because you want this very flat, and we're going to glue it together. So there you have that, and then this one, and then we have one more. So I'm just going to fold where that needs to be bone folded. Again, flatten it out really well. And hopefully this isn't confusing anybody. This is kind of why I said I'm not going to make a swap out of this, even though it'd be very cute to swap. There's a lot going on here, and I'd rather people do it on their own and enjoy. So there it is. It looks something like this. So we are going to glue these pieces together. I like wet glues because unless you rip it, it's not going to fall apart. But if you want to use a, you know, adhesive runner, go for it. Use the strongest adhesive you have. I'm going to put it right to the edge because I like it really holding on. So that was that first 1/2 inch up and down. This will be the most confusing part, and then after that, it's nothing. You're just matting and layering whatever it is that you want, right? So we have this. So I'm going to hold on to that. And then the next 1/2 inch space, also glue in there. Hold that together, and that's going to bring those 1/4 inches together. And the next 1/2 inch space. Now let's say you want to put some really chunky stuff in here. You want 1/2 inch spaces in between your pages, then do that. Just do 1/2 inch and do the math, you know. For me, I think I'm keeping everything relatively flat, and I think I'm going to put what would make like 4 or 5 cards, just depending on what I can hold in there. So I don't need it to be too wide, but if you like a lot of dimensional stuff, you want to put dimensional stuff in there, you want to make like little pouch pockets, or, you know, it might take a little more space, then do that. You just have to do the math. That'll give you a 1/2 inch spacing in between your pages. So we got that, we got this one. And last one. So I'm going to keep holding these because they're not dry yet. But again, plenty of glue. And that's just for my objects that are going to be like this. Something that's going to be used quite a bit or messed with, manipulated. If you want to use... I get these questions all the time about why I always use wet glue. I just think it holds longer, better. But if you make your cards with this kind of thing, with tape runner, it'll be fine. It's a card, you know. One other thing I forget to do sometimes, and it makes a nicer project. So I don't know if you can see. I just want you to see how if this is all flat, that's our spine. And sometimes I glue the spine in, sometimes I don't. You know, sometimes I leave it hanging there. But I think for this one I am going to glue it down completely, just like that. So we have our 1/4 inch spaces from the beginning and the end, right? 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch here, and everything else is just standing up. I did cut it a little bit smaller just so it looks nicer. One other thing you can do when you have spines like this is you can just divot these a little bit. So when all I'm doing is taking off like the smallest amount, like at an angle. So when you add your pages, you don't see that so much, like right at the tip. Does that make sense? And it's just, and again, a little attention to detail. You don't have to do this at all. And these are the same kind of spines I would make if I was making like a memory book, or, you know, like the tonic books that we have. You may want to make your own spine. Or sometimes you have a die for a spine, like Spellbinders and Tonic, they both have that. It's very similar. It'll do the same thing for you, but you still have to go and fold it all up and all that. Okay, so I want to make sure that everything is good here. I am going to bone fold that a little bit. I can feel it's giving me some funniness. So basically we just created our spine, and that's it, guys. Like, that's all it is. And then we're going to add in pages here. I'm going to show you a couple ways to do the pages, but obviously you're going to do whatever you want. I just want to make sure that this is in here and not going to interfere with the book opening and closing. And this one either. So sometimes I'll make the spine long enough that this tucks into, you know, so whatever mat you want to do. If you want to do that, go ahead. I'm just gluing it down. It's just going to be here. And then on the outside, I'm also going to put, you know, something else to make it more sturdy. But for now, again, I love my wet glue, so I'm going to bring this in, put a ton of it. I suppose you can use hot glue. I don't know. What do you guys think? Either way, I'm going to super glue this down. So I'm just going to take that and make sure this is right in the center, and that it's not interfering with my book opening and closing. That one's right there. Right there, looking good. Maybe a little bit over this way. And that's it. I'm just going to hold this down. And all this glue and these layers just make things feel more and more sturdy. I love it. I'm really pushing down on those because they won't want to stick, you know. You really want to make sure everything's really making contact. I can see here this one wants to be up in the air a little bit, so I'm going to keep holding it down. Okay, I'm going to keep massaging this to holding it down just so that it makes really good contact. And then on the back you can see it's just flat. I'm going to cover that with some pretty paper, the back and also the front. and then also the insides, then we're gonna make our pages. That's why this video is gonna be just this, and then I'll follow up with whatever else we want to put in. So I might be ready. I'm just really holding those down, making sure everything's good. So we're gonna, you know, mat and layer our front and our back and all those kinds of things. Now I can think about how I want to work with this paper and really think about what you want to use for the actual card base. Maybe you don't want to use paper. Maybe you want to use something else. Maybe you want these for your actual cards or whatever. But I am just going to... Oh, that's so pretty because it does have some blues. Look at these flowers. Oh my gosh, those are gorgeous. Ooh, stripes. My goodness, there is just a lot going on here. I love this. So I'm going to take this guy out. I think this will be my front cover of the book itself. Okay, come on. There we go. I think I'm going to cut this down to fit in here. Every day is a special occasion. And maybe I'll even use this piece that ends up cut off here. I don't know. And then the very back can be kind of more plain. You know? So I'm going to choose... Like, this isn't my most favorite paper, this one here, so maybe that's just what I'm going to use on the back. Even though it doesn't really go. So, if that's going to be for my cover, and you can always decorate this at the end, I'm just kind of going along. These are 6 inches tall by 4 3/8, so I am going to cut this to 5 7/8 by 4 1/4. Okay, so I'm just taking 1/8 of an inch off. So it's that 4 1/4 this way by 5 7/8. And I'll cut this back one the same size. And this centerpiece should be 1 inch. So 5 7/8 by 7/8. And I'll be right back, guys. So could we added this on before I put the spine in? Sure. You guys know I'm just kind of going along as I feel like I haven't done one of these in a very long time. Look how pretty that paper is. So this will be the front. And you know what? Do I want to close this one with ribbon? You know what? I'll close it with ribbon. I was going to use my little snap attachment tool. But you know, you can do that too if you want to. So let me grab some ribbon. What colors do we have here? I have this bright red, but I don't know if that's going to look right. Hold on. We have this little color in there, but maybe that's more burgundy than it is red, isn't it? Let me grab a burgundy one. I'll be right back. We're going to use seam binding. So I just grabbed this black seam binding, and I'm just going to grab a chunk of it. I don't really care how long this is or not. And that's just because I just chose right now that this is how I'm going to close it. But to whatever it is that you want to do, I will add a little tape here. And I am just adding this just for some reinforcement right to the edge, knowing that I only have a little bit of an edge there. Now, if you don't want to do this, then don't do this, and then just add a clasp at the end. However you want to add a clasp. I think whenever I did the last clasp folio folder, you guys know how to do that. Now my glue pretty much dried up, so let me... I was gonna say, Nuo Deluxe is some good stuff. Like, I literally wasn't gone that long and it already dried up. Now, knowing that this is going to be holding my ribbon here, and I'm just eyeballing this at this point. I'm gonna put this on here. And like I said, we could have put the spine on afterwards. If that's easier for you, then put the spine on afterwards. Not a big deal. I'm gonna glue this down, and I'm just gonna glue this down the center. Again, if you want the ribbon to run the whole length, you can definitely do that too. And I'm just going to cut another piece of seam binding and kind of eyeball where it is on the other side, where it should be. Right? About there somewhere. So let me put, again, some strips of glue, and then I will judge where that needs to be. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of tape, but I like to really reinforce that area because your little ribbon's going to be just kind of here, and it's going to be manipulated quite a bit, so possibly, right? Okay, let's go there. I'm going to close this up again. See just about where this should be. a little bit higher up. Okay, like right there. And I'm just gonna glue, glue, glue. Again, I mean, we can use that side. It's not my favorite side. I like the other side better. You wanna do your inking before you put it down. I might even add a charm on the end of this book. We will see, I don't know. A little charm dangle. And that goes there. Okay, and I'm just going to glue this strip down in the center. And I'll be right back. So this is the outside roughly of our book for right now. And it's going to close up right here. How cute. So on these inside parts, I'm going to make pockets. So I'm going to mat them to make it prettier, and we're going to make pockets. Now I have some numbers here as far as the pockets themselves. Again, if you're looking to save paper, you might want to do your math, but for me, I'm just cutting up paper. I'm not thinking about that right now. I have written down that my pocket needs to be 5 inches tall by 5 5/8 inches wide. So let's think 5 inches tall, 5 5/8 inches wide. So I'm just taking this piece of paper that I cut earlier. 5 inches tall. Let me think, hold on. Yeah, I don't have enough paper on here to make it so I can make 2 pockets out of this one page. But from a 8.5 by 11, you should be able to do that. 5 inches by what? 5 5/8? 5 1/2 would be 4/8, so 5/8. 5 5/8. And we're going to score this, and we're also making 2 of these, okay? I'm just making 1 for now. I'm giving it an 1/8 inch gusset or space or whatever, you know, thickness to my pocket. So that means it can hold, you know, a few cards, maybe 4 or 5, I don't know. To hold the cards on the outer pockets there. So I'm just trying to make sure I have this right. This is 5 5/8, okay? And what we're doing here is we're going to score at 1/2 and 1/8, 1/2 and 1/8, okay. So 1/2 inch, because that's what's going to be glued down to my book. A 1/2 inch glue tab is what I wanted. 1/2 inch. And then 1/8 of an inch from there. So it's just the next one. So 1/2 inch and then, you know, 5/8. And then same thing on one of the sides at the bottom. So I'm just going to choose this to be the bottom. 1/2 inch. And then 5/8. And on the other side also 1/2 inch. I hope you guys enjoy doing stuff like this, because if you do, you'll like this. If you don't enjoy doing stuff like this, you're going to be like, this is a nightmare. And that's fine. And then we are going to just create a little kind of like I did on the last project we worked on, but I'm not going to be too particular with this one because it's just going to get glued down anyway. So I'm just going to trim away, let's say, this whole bit. So from here to here, and I'm just going to leave it open. I'm not going to try to match up those little 1/8 inch pieces because that'll just be kind of a nightmare. So I'm cutting on that first score line that we have there, and then this one. And all this is going to do is make us a pocket. Now the pocket's a little bit tall. If you want the pocket lower, make it lower. That's fine. I'm just scoring on both both score lines. So that outer, and then the one that makes our little 1/8 of an inch gusset. So there and here. It's a little hard because it's a very small area. If you want to do a 1/4 inch, make it a 1/4 inch. Just do the math to make it a 1/4 inch gap. Okay, and I'm going to go around all the sides, and that's what's going to hold like our cards and our envelopes, okay? So I'll do the same thing on this one and this one. So that's what that looks like. Something like this. It's going to make like a little pocket. Now this is, like I said, really tall. If you don't want yours that tall, you don't have to make it this tall. That's what I went with, but you can make it shorter. You know, or you can just cut it afterwards if you just don't like it, just cut it down. So if you measure this area though, it's kind of interesting. I didn't realize I made like a square basically. So let me see. We're gonna matte layer this. It is 4 3/8 by 4 3/8. So I think what I'll do is I'll cut a 4 1/4 inch square to matte over this. So I'm going to pick some paper for that. We're also going to cover the inside of this. Now you can use a whole piece of paper and then add this on top, or you can just put as much paper as what's going to fit in here. You don't have to use the whole sheet, right? Which might be a good way to use up like these little scraps, you know, that you can use that piece or whatever. So, you know, think about how you want to cover that. But let me cut a 4 1/4 inch square for this area, and I'll be right back. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is just coming out. Sometimes, you know, as you're working, you're like, oh yeah, because like the little last piece that I cut this at 4 1/4 inch, and then I need to cut it 4 1/4 inch. This last piece I can tuck in here. So it can just be the same pattern continue, and this black and white pattern, or beige, black, is messing with my eyeballs. Okay, so another old school thing that we used to do is cut like a corner, a circle punch out of this. So let me see where my other circle punch is, because I have different sizes. And normally what happens is you cut one, you cut the other, and you think, oh, you can use the same one, but it doesn't look right a lot of the times. And I don't even know that I have the one I need. I probably need like a 1 1/2. This one is a 1 inch, I think, even though it doesn't say it. And that one's 1 1/2. A lot bigger. Let's see what happens. So I'm gonna take this guy and just eyeballing this. A lot of times these things will have centering lines, like here it has like this little line, or like this little line in the front, and you can kind of put it there so you know that's the center of the circle. So it'll help me for that part, but not so much for this other part. But I'm just basically eyeballing it. So let's do this one. I'm using the smaller one here because when you go to do this one, if you use that same size one, it just doesn't look quite right. But this next one is a lot bigger, so that's kind of not great. Like when I go to put this in the center, it's going to leave a lot of white space. I wish I had a smaller... Oh well, you'll see what I mean. Watch. Just watch this. I'll show you what I mean. So let's pretend that that's halfway down. Looking about right. I haven't done this in a long time. I might be way off. Is that this little one, even though it's a little bit smaller, see how it kind of touches right there? It's not exactly what you want. You want a punch that's a little different in sizing so that it fits better. But, you know, what are you going to do? And that's if you want that layering. If you don't care, just take a punch and punch it all together and it doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm just going to move on. Doesn't bother me too much anymore. It used to. Those are the kinds of things that used to bother me. Alright, so now I'm just going to glue these guys together. And I'm going to do the exact same thing for the back page. Same pocket, hopefully. I did my numbers right. And so I'm going to put this on here, just to have that ready. I'm going to let this set up for a second since I did use a craft glue. If I was going to use a whole sheet, I would stick that down and then I would stick this down, or you can put this around the sheet if you want this really trapped to just give it more oomph, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's pretend this is a full sheet of whatever let's pretend it's this one. You could make it so that this wraps around it and then stick it down, right? Or stick this down and then push this into it, which is basically what I want to do with this. But I'll be right back once it sets up a little bit. While I was waiting, I went ahead and made my back pocket also. So again, you know, if you want to pop your little holes, maybe I won't do that on this one. I'm going to mat it. It's going to be the exact same thing. So just what I did here, I'm going to do exactly the same on the back, but I'm not going to make a hole. I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is. And so we're going to take this guy, and I'm going to use a faster drying glue. And if you want to cut into this just so it's a little finer instead of just leaving everything kind of framed out like this, you can definitely do that. Just cut away a little bit here and there. If you want. You don't have to do this part. You don't have to do any of it. That's the fun. Alright, so I'm going to glue this down again with quite a bit of glue. I just got my new glue in, but of course I want to finish this off. I need this bottle to be completely empty and then it'll make me happy. Okay, all the way up here, and this guy down here. And I'm doing it all at once, but if you want to do, I guess you kind of have to do it all at once, huh? And really make sure the glue gets up here, because you don't want, when you're putting your cards in and out, for them to get stuck on there. And I'm just, this is exactly the width of this card front, or the book front. So just making sure that I'm all the way down here, and all the way side to side without it being a problem, you know? So just making sure we're tucked in nicely, that this is all tucked in nicely. I'm kind of using the book itself to help me push this, you know, this last part that's over here. And I'm pushing down over here to make sure that's nice and flush, and I'm pushing in over here, make sure this is holding on nice and flush. Okay, so all the edges look good. That's what I'm trying to get to here. Yeah, looking good. And I'm basically pushing this down right on that edge, you know, of the spine. Okay, I'll be back once I think it's held up. And we'll keep going. Okay, I think I'm good. So I do want to say, since I popped this little hole in here, the little divot, my little piece is not going to work out for us at this point because it'll just be showing that little opening, you know what I'm saying? Unless that doesn't bother you, then fine, but it does bother me. So I am just going to cut another piece. And we might, at the end of the project, have some pieces that will work out. But for now, I'm just going to find another piece. Oh, this one's cute. This kind of paper is always hard for me to use, so this would be a cute one to pop back there because it's just in there and it looks like little frames. This is a cute one with the dots. Oh, let's use that one. So I'm going to cut it 4 1/4. Remember, this is 4 3/8. This was 4 3/8. So I'm going to cut it 4 1/4 by, like, I don't know. I didn't measure this part because I wasn't thinking that far ahead. Let's say 2 1/2 inches, so it clears this area and then goes down a little bit even more. Okay, so 4 1/4 by 2 1/2. So we have these little circles, super cute. This is what's tough about using double-sided papers. You want to use all of it. Both sides are so cute. Okay, and I put quite a bit of glue so I can slide this in here. And that'll help kind of hold in our book, our pocket, and all that. And I'm just eyeballing it so it's pretty much centered. Move a little higher up. Cute. Okay, I'm going to hold that down for a second, and I'm going to do the exact same thing on this back page. As I work on this one in the back, I just want to show you some little tricks. Like, you know, as I'm holding it, I was holding it just to make sure that it's going to close right. But then, you know, I might put my ruler in there to really make sure that all the surfaces are touching. You can do this with a bone folder, but a ruler is a lot flatter and better. And again, just making sure that this is still closing right, that it's not interfering over there, and just keep it going. Oh my goodness, you guys. So cute. So yeah, I think I'm able to hold 4, maybe 5 envelopes. Now that's because I made it a 1/4 inch. If you want to make it, I'm sorry, 1/8 of an inch pocket. If you want to make it 1/4, it's going to be that much thicker. It's going to run right into this page. So again, if you want to make it wider, just add that much more that you need. But look how cute. So I have 4 cards here, just 4 card blanks. Again, Spellbinders card blanks. Maybe I can get 5 in there, like I said, but for now I think 4 is good. Look how cute. And they fit right in there. Oh, this is the other thing. So if, you know, that last one is touching the back of the gusset, so I just bring that one to the front and it helps me tuck them in there. On this one I use that little black and white piece. My little envelopes are just there, ready to go. So 4 envelopes, 4 card fronts or card blanks, and then we are going to make pages, and then we're going to put things on our pages. So this is very concise, really sweet. I think, like I said, maybe I'll hang something off of here. We'll do that later, possibly. So we're going to make our pages. Now I am just going to keep this super basic, but I will show you a way that you can do this with and making automatic pockets, if you want to call them that. So let me put this to the side for a second. Let me clear off this area and we'll get to making our pages. At first I'm going to show you what I'm calling automatic pocket page, but it's not my favorite just because you do lose a little bit of the area that you can actually tuck things into. But we'll just show you, I'll just show you it real quick. So you need a piece of paper that is 8 1/2 by 8 3/4 because it's 4 3/8 inch pages, right? The width. They can be a little smaller than that because I think if you do 4 3/8 it might be sticking out a little bit, but we can adjust that as we go along, so that's not the biggest deal. But for now, I'm going to cut this paper. It's already 8 1/2 inches wide, so at 8 3/4. So let's get this cut down to 8 3/4 in the other direction. 8 3/4, is that what I said? That is what I said. 8 3/4. And so if you want automatic pockets on the one piece of paper and all you're going to do is matte layer them, this is what you can do. So on the 8 1/2 inch side, which I believe is this side, let's just make sure. Yes, on the 8 1/2 inch side, we're going to score at 2 1/2 on either one of the ends. You only hit on one of the ends. So 2 1/2. And that's going to make this 6 inches tall, right? Because what's left is 6 inches. And on the opposite side, the 8 3/4 inch side, we're going to score at 4 3/8. So 4 3/8 is right here. And so all we're going to do with this is fold it in half on that 4 3/8, which is half. And then this guy, I'm going to go ahead and fold it up. So we're going to fold it up like this. It's kind of like you're making a folder, as you can see. But we need to cut this because it won't really work if you try to fold it around again. It's like that pop-up where it just doesn't work. So I'm going to cut this. You can cut it straight down the center, but I'm going to cut is on either side of the score line just to make it a little cleaner. So there's that, and then on this side too of this little score line. I'm just removing like the smallest amount of that, as you can see. And just trim away this or pull it away, either way. So now we have something that looks like this, and then it has these little flaps, and these are going to make your automatic pockets. And all you're going to do is glue them here and glue it here. And then this is still open, and you can glue it into your book, right? Which is really cute, to be honest. It's very sweet, but I'll go ahead and glue it just to show you what that looks like and why it's not my favorite. So we're going to glue these guys in now to ameliorate what I'm talking about. I'm just going to make a separate pocket completely. But actually, I kind of like this. You can also take an extra piece of paper, and let's say you're going to cut it at 2 1/4 inches, 2.5 inches. Let's just pretend. I'm just going to cut this. I don't know if it's actually 2.5 inches or not. Dang, almost. Let's just do that. And I don't know how big this is, but let's pretend that I'm scoring it nicely. And you can make yourself a little pocket that then takes away the problem that I'm talking about, where it just takes some of the pocket away. So you would glue it on this side, glue it on that side, and now your pocket opens up a little bit like this, right? And you still have that surface area. Otherwise, you can just glue this at the very edges, which is the kind of stuff we used to do all the time with like envelope, when we recycle envelopes or making envelope mini albums or stuff like that. So I'm going to hold that down. It's just making a pocket here, and I'm going to do the same thing on this other side, okay? I'm just going to put glue on the very edge and hold it down. So basically we've just made pockets, but again, it's missing that little edge because it's glued down. If you were going to do this, I would also put my matte paper down and then glue the pocket and then matte this, you know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of showing you an example. So again, this paper was 8.5 by 8 3/4. On the 8.5 side, you're going to score it at 2.5. It's going to make a 2.5 inch pocket. And on the other side, you're just going to score it down the center, which is the 4 3/8, okay? So now we have this, and there's pockets on both sides, or you can cut this off and only have pockets on one side and no pocket on the other side. Whatever is, this is the part when we used to make envelope minis, that was just a lot of fun because you can do whatever you want. Now, I can put glue all over this, and then glue one side, obviously to one side of the flap, and then to the other side of the flap and hold it down. And that is one page made that has 2 little pockets. Or you can put glue just on the very bottom, and of course on this side and on this side, just on the edges and the very bottom, stick it on, and now you have an opening at the top that you can also put fun things in, right? That can hold tags or other things. So lots of fun ways to play with this. I am just going to go basic, even though this is very cute and very fast. Again, it's missing some of that, and I really want that area there because I want to be able to put a whole card front if I want into this. So I really need that space. So all I'm going to do is just take some pieces of paper, 3 of them. This is going to be super basic. Maybe in the next time we'll play with it a little bit more where I'll make other kind of pockets and things. I don't know. But for now, I'm just going to take this that's 6 inches tall and 8 3/4 inches wide, and I'm going to score it at 4 3/8, okay? So I will be right back. So I feel bad not using that one pocket that I just made, so maybe I'll use that as my middle page or my last page, because that way I can still pop things in there. I feel bad not to use it. So this is my regular page, though. It's 6 by 8 3/4, and all you're doing with this one is scoring it at the 4 3/8. And if we need to trim that down, you know, for it to fit in the book nicer, we will do that, right? Because like the book itself is 4 3/8, and these pages are also 4 3/8. I didn't make them smaller. I'm just making them the same size. So there's that. And I'll do the same thing with this guy. And what I'm trying to say is when I bring this over here, let's say when I go to glue this in, if it's sticking out, you know, I don't like that. It's kind of sticking out a little bit, right? So I'm just going to trim a little bit off the edge, just the smallest amount off the edge. Okay guys, so I have a few things here. Again, these are the pages I'm making for the inserts, and then I'm going to use the one that I showed you, which had the, you know, instant pockets there. So as I play with these, you know, I do want to cover that up, so I'm going to use this little piece here. I think I cut it, everything's 4 1/4 wide, because these are 4 3/8, so about 4 1/4 wide, and then I think I cut it 4 inches deep, because since I am using the instant pocket page, that has a 2.5 inch pocket, and I don't want these pockets to be different from those pockets, so I'm going to do it the same. But I would have done probably 3-inch pockets if I was just going to make my own pockets. And then I have this piece that's going to lay over that, okay? So we have that. But for now, this is the piece that's going to make my pocket. So we already talked about our paper being 6 by 8 3/4, scored at 4 3/8. I cut a little bit off just in case I don't really want it sticking out too much from my book here. But this is still going to be 4 3/8. So, you know, if you want to make some adjustments, if it's not looking right to you, then just make the adjustments, you know. So this is a piece of paper that's 2 3/4 by 4 7/8. So all I'm going to do on this one is score at 1/4 inch on both sides here, and then on the bottom basically. So just a 1/4 inch. We're going to make a pocket with this. So 1/4 here, a 1/4 on the opposite side, and a 1/4 on the bottom. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do to make a little pocket. And with this one, all I'm going to do is divot it out a little bit here and a little bit there, like that. We could have done that with the original pocket too. I just cut off the pieces, but you can definitely do the divot like this. That way you're doing it all in one fell swoop. And so we're going to fold this guy up. And these guys, I'm going to try to fold them as much in as I can. I know when you score things, you know, get wonky, but I want it to be a little smaller than big, okay? Because what I'm saying is I'm trying to score on this side, like bring as much of the score over here. That way, if I go to put this on, you know, it's not sticking out. Because again, my pages are exact same size as the outside of my book. If you wanted the outside of your book a little bit bigger, then you can do that. But the reason I did that is because I wanted these pockets to be right at the edges. If, you know, you left some sticking out, it's going to get hit. Maybe this little edge that's not so firm or sturdy. So I really wanted this to be right on the edge to keep the book looking really nice. But, you know, that also means when you go to put in your pages can be a little bit tinier if you want, so they're not super sticking out, right? But that doesn't look too bad. Okay, so, again, do you want to make little cutouts for these guys like this, or do some punching, or, I mean, there's so many ways to play with this. If you're going to do punching, I would definitely start off with a taller pocket, because you're going to punch it down, you know, it does get a little bit trimmed off of it, like a little haircut when you do that. I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to do the same thing with the back page. I just wanted to show you what this is going to look like. So I'm basically doing this with all the pages, just to make pockets. And you can even do double pockets, a pocket at the bottom, pocket up higher. I mean, there's just different ways to play with this. I'm going to hold this down. I have not closed this page up yet, because we're going to close it up when we actually add it to the book. So for now, I'm just going to hold that down at the very bottom here, and that's going to make a pocket. Again, you don't want your pockets to glue together, so after I hold it down for a little while, I always just make sure that I open it up and make sure that the glue hasn't completely stuck this shut, right? So again, I use like my trusty ruler, things like that, just to feel in there and make sure that that's not completely stuck down. I guess we can keep moving on since I'm using this glue. This piece of paper, I cut it just a little bit smaller, so, you know, your pocket was 2 3/4 by 4 7/8. We took a 1/4 inch off either side, a 1/4 inch off the bottom. So it left a 2.5 inch pocket, so it's the same as the instant pocket that we made over here. See, they're basically the same. I don't know if you can see that, but they're basically the same. So this is 2 3/8, if this is 2.5 inches tall, by 4 1/4. Again, everything's 4 1/4 inches wide. I feel like a broken record saying that, but all the mats and layers are going to be 4 1/4 inches as far as the width. So I have that. And where's the other piece I cut? This guy is going to tuck in here again, covering up some of that pocket area, like where we have the pocket, so it helps reinforce, keep that down. And I just slide that in. So my neighbor is also getting solar panels put on. That's why he was doing all the roof work. And so that's carrying on now. that is what's going on over there. Okay, let's go up here. All right. And I'm literally going to do the exact same thing on this other side. I'm going to add a pocket. Again, I'm adding it. Sorry, this one already has it automatically. I will matte and layer this the same. That's kind of why I didn't want to use this, because now when I matte and layer this, I didn't do it already. I might pop this open, to be honest, to add my matte layer. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I won't layer in the back. I kind of wanted it colored, but maybe I don't, right? Maybe I just put other things. Didn't think about that. We'll see. I'll be back. I'm not sure what I said before the little break, because this did take, you know, I have to cut some things down and make my little pocket, but look how cute this is. Oh my gosh, and it feels so sturdy. This just takes me back, you guys. It's so much fun, and I think this is a very useful thing to do. So, again, do you want to put glue just at the very bottom and on the very sides, both sides, because you need this to hold on to either side of this, and then hold it on so you have a little place in the top that you can put little tags and things. Now this is for cards. I don't really need tags, so I don't think I'm going to do that. But if we ever make another kind of book, maybe I will. But for now, all I'm going to do is glue this down. So I'm just going to put a ton of glue in here. I'm still going to put some, you know, on this inside edge, even though it doesn't really touch, but it's, you know, you always want your glue to help reinforce everything. So I'm putting it right to the edge. Right in here, right on that edge, in here to hold that together, and this edge, because you definitely need both edges to have glue that's going to hold on to the tab there. Okay, so I know it's a pity that we're covering it up, because I know people like to make little places to put tags and stuff, but if you want to do that, then go for it. So all I'm doing is on one side and the other holding on to this guy. And as I hold on to it, what I'll do is probably open it up like this and make sure we're even up and down. And all the way to the very edge, like all the way to the base, you know, because again, I don't want everything sticking out too much outside of the book when the book is closed up like this. They should be basically the same. Look at that. Perfect. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to hold this here. I love having that 1/2 inch actually tab, because it really wants to hold on, which is really nice. And you know, I just massage the thing. I try to keep it together, and just, may I bring my ruler and help me push against here. Maybe I'll use a bone folder or something like this to help me push against the other side, just to keep it all together and nice and giving that finished touch, you know. So I will continue massaging this until I'm happy with it. I'm going to make a second page. I need to eat some lunch or else I'm going to go insane. So I am going to do that. If I do use the one with the instant pockets, it'll be back here. Because on this one I was just going to put like flourishes and things like that anyway, so I don't really need all the area. But again, I didn't mat it before I did this. So before I made my pocket, because I wasn't going to use it. And then I felt bad not using it. So we will see. I feel like if I tear it open, I'm really going to rip it. We'll see. I don't know. I might just have to make another pocket. I feel bad not using this. Maybe I'll use it in a different thing. Who knows? I will be back. Either way, basically all the pages are going to be like this. That's all I'm trying to say. If you want to make pockets that are sideways, you want to make pockets, you know, that go diagonally, you want to change it up, you know, be my guest. You want to add a little pocket that opens, that has a latch, a little snap closure, you can definitely do that. I mean, all those kinds of fun things. For now, I'm just keeping it super basic, and maybe we'll do some fun things in the next ones. But, you know, I might change my mind after I eat my lunch. Okay. Look at that, you guys. It's looking something like that. And then we're going to put all kinds of cute little things in here. So I will be back. Okay, guys, I did get a little something to eat. I am running out of daylight. Got to pick up the kids early today because it's a Wednesday. So I have my papers. I did cut more to do another set of pockets. Again, they're all the same. They're all the same. So, because this is the intro to what I was wanting to do, so I want to keep it very basic. We have this guy. Now I'm going to work on this page, and it's going to be exactly the same as what I did here. Again, our papers are 6 inches tall, 8 3/4 inches long, scored at 4 3/8. Is that what we were doing? Yes, I believe so. And then our little pockets that we created, like I just told you guys what it was 2 3/4 by 4 7/8, scored at 1/4 inch on all the sides there, except for the top. And I'll do the exact same thing for these. So I have my paper ready. I already cut pockets and kind of matched them up how I'm gonna want them to be, you know, so this is all gonna be put together just like I just showed you, and I'm gonna glue it, pop it in, do the next one, and glue it. So when I come back either tomorrow or Friday, we are going to then start cutting like papers that I think would be really cute to be like card toppers. I want to do some die cut like fronts or however, you know. The next thing, like I had mentioned at the very beginning, was going to be like flourishes, maybe some little embellishment type pieces. We're going to cut out some words and things like that we can just pop in our sentiments, stuff like that, and we'll go from there. So it'll be really fun, I think, when we're all done. And that's kind of why I'm keeping things flat, because I'm giving it a 1/4 inch between, so you know, some card toppers, some card fronts or whatever, you know, die cut fronts. It's not going to take a lot of space in here, and so that's what it's going to be. And it's just going to be a little set that's really cute. We'll decorate it, I think. Why not? We'll see. Maybe add a little decoration here and there. And so I already have all my pieces cut for that. I'm just going to put it together just like I just did. Like literally the exact same thing. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do and glue them on. Maybe I'll leave an opening just so you guys can see what that looks like if we want to pop something in there. But again, that would just be gluing the bottom and the side and leaving this open here so you can tuck some things in there too. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and hopefully this was a fun bust it out for you guys. I was just pulling things out from here and there. And then we'll finish up on either tomorrow or Friday, but probably Friday. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye now.